All right. Hey, Virgos, welcome back. Virgos, we're probably going to do kind of like a rapid kind of storytelling, and I only suggest that because that's exactly how I just done a Libra video, and it just came out like boom, like the story just kind of like put itself out there. So I feel like that's the vibe right now. It's like nobody has time to mess around. Let's just get to it. So we've got the Mastery of Cups, followed by the Seven of Cups. First off, lots of emotional energy in all of this. This should be the King of Cups, but they swapped it for a feminine on the King card. And I just want to make note of that because this could represent a really powerful masculine that is also like extremely in tune with their divine feminine energy. We could be talking about a divine feminine in general here, but an octopus, they're really intelligent creatures. They're also quite shy, but they use their tentacles to actually taste the world around them. So their sensory aspect is very different. And I don't know, I think that's really important to make a note that someone is incredibly intelligent, incredibly sensitive, and they experience the world through a slightly different manner. And even this, the masculine feminine like blend here. What I want to say is Virgo could totally misunderstand somebody at first. They may not fully understand how this person operates. This person may even be someone who compartmentalizes quite a lot, and that could be confusing. It could be really confusing. This person, even in the way they have conversation about very different topics at different points in time, it's like, I don't want to talk about, anything really heartfelt unless we're totally alone. It's not like I'm ever going to have a romantic dinner where I sit there and, like gush and open up my heart. That I consider a thing where, really when we're alone, that's when I say all of those beautiful things. I don't want to talk about, my childhood in casual conversation on the phone, or maybe I only want to talk about it on the phone because I had to go through a lot of tough stuff and I had to change a lot of things. And it's easier for me to not make eye contact when I explain stuff that maybe still impacts me. It's just, this could be a kind of, I'm going to say, a confusing character to get to know, only because maybe we haven't met someone like this. And if this person, maybe this is an empath that the Virgo is going to be meeting here or has met. We have the Teacher. Oh, so here's Thoth, the god of all wisdom and knowledge. Now, this is Taurus energy. This is the Hierophant in any other deck, but here they call it the Teacher. And Thoth, the god of all wisdom and knowledge in the Egyptian pantheon of gods, he gave humans the first alphabet and, the ability to write and to communicate. So not a surprise that what we have is somebody who is maybe extremely emotional, or maybe this is the Virgo, extremely emotional, feels so many things, but doesn't quite know how to find the vehicle to express them. Either the Virgo is going to help this person find the expression, or if this could all be about the Virgo on this journey and they're realizing, oh my God, you know what? I am a deeply intuitive person. I have to step back from things and then think about, because I'm overloaded by emotions. Maybe if I'm, let's put it this way. This would be a character where it's like they go to a play and they watch a play and they, applaud with everybody else, but they don't actually make a decision about, did I like it? Did I not like it? Until days later, because while they were there in the play, they were riding through those emotions, feeling every emotion that every character, was displaying and portraying, to the point where it's like, okay, I had a huge experience, but I can't tell you yet from my non-emotional brain, did I actually like it? Did I think it was good writing? Did I agree with the characters? To dissect it, I may need more time to first step back. That's the kind of person that we're talking about here. And I think to then be able to communicate it, I feel like this is somebody who has a lot to say, but they need time to think about everything. So either the Virgo is dealing with somebody who they feel a ton, but they may not really show it because they have to step away and process it. And then they can find language to express it. That may be because they're a gigantic, like, sponge. Or think of it this way, like the third eye is like crazy wide open, and they just kind of like all this stuff kind of like flows in, and then they send it to their higher self, to the crown chakra, and then they go, okay, higher self, how do we interpret this? What do we learn? And then they send that information back down through the throat chakra, and now they can have a conversation. Like it's just a different like feedback loop. But I feel like somebody experiences the world maybe even through like other senses. Like I say, touch, taste, like they get immersed in something. This could be our Virgo. Our Virgo may be like, I'm so bombarded with the entire experience, the sight, the sound, the smell, the blah, 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 blah. I can't really find words. So this could be somebody that doesn't react. Somebody throws them a surprise birthday party and they just go, hi. And it's not that they aren't filled with joy, but it's like, it's so much sensory input. It's so funny. I hate things like that. I loathe surprises. I hate anything. I don't know how to like handle too much coming at me all at once like that. I can totally identify like that. I just hate surprises. And I think that's a good description as to why. This is not about me, but in that one respect, I can use that as an example and say that could explain it very succinctly why I hate surprises like that. It's so overwhelming. There's so many things that you're like, okay, I didn't expect this. First, I'm kind of freaked out. Then I've got to figure out, how to, how am I going to say hi to every single person here? How do I tell them thank you? How do I, like, it's a huge burden that really stresses me out. How am I a good hostess when I didn't get to prepare to host? It's so funny. We have a 10 of Cups. Oh my gosh. This story, by the way, this story is definitely not my life story, but that one aspect I can totally identify the way we've tried. Well, I hope that example makes sense. But this character, they are headed for great happiness, like true emotional fulfillment. It's worthy of it's worthy of exploring. Either it's worthy of getting to know this person better or getting to know oneself well enough to say, oh my gosh, I've understood something about me. Now I'll be better at being able to convey this to my partner, or my partner has learned this, or I've learned this about my partner, and now I can understand them in a deeper way. They operate different. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. I feel like this is a pathway to having a really fantastic relationship where we find a way to communicate. And maybe the way to communicate is to first understand that the person we're dealing with has to first not communicate. They have to be allowed that time and that space for the silence. They have to be allowed that time and that space. We got an Ace of Coins in the reverse, and we got the Moon upright. So this is a journey toward getting the kind of happiness. This is all about learning, and there are still other things. We're not quite ready for this yet. Okay, so Virgo, I'm going to suggest it this way. This may be the person that Virgo is going to meet or already has that they care about. And it's like, we're still working through the mystery of all of this. We're learning things. Maybe this person is understanding more about themselves. Maybe this is silently they're trying to figure out, how do I explain to the Virgo who I am? How do I explain to them the way I process different? How do I find the right words? They might be going down this road of trying to understand themselves so that they can be a partner to Virgo. And they may still, either Virgo's in the dark about this. Virgo says, they're not coming back. Are you kidding me? This person's not a part of my world at all. Or there's still all of this confusion that lingers between the two of them, that we can't have a new beginning until we can get this. There's one more thing that has to be cleared up. There's one more thing that has to be understood here. What is it? I'm not sure if we'll get an answer on something that intense, but let's see. The 10 of Swords. Okay, so one of the things that has to be, like, one of the big secrets, or one of the things that has to be fully revealed. We have an ending that's really painful. We have the Scorpion that stings, and there's that big old third eye. Is it facing a fear? of what if somebody leaves me once we get to know each other. Maybe this person has never been very well understood before by a partner. Maybe they've never reached to the point where they could explain their own behavior and thought that a partner would be patient enough to get to know this about them. But I don't know if this person has ever found the right words to articulate who they are, why they operate the way they do. They might be really trying to work on themselves to find a way to express this, because somebody is trying to find the language. A person who has not necessarily been able to explain it, I think that they're trying to figure this out because they really love someone. They really want to be happy, and they're working. I think this is somebody who's working really hard on themselves. But one of the big things that it's like, it's still this mystery is like, how do I explain maybe the emotion that I'm most afraid of, which is how much it would hurt if I'm with someone, I'm used to being misunderstood, but I've worked really hard on myself to try to find a way to convey this to my Virgo and explain how I process differently. But what if then I tell this to Virgo and then they still don't want to stay with me? And if that's my big, deep fear, that's one of the things that, again, it's like, how do I explain that part? That, or maybe this person had an ending in their life. Heck, maybe Virgo's had an ending in their life before that was really painful. And it's something about needing to identify where a certain hurt comes from. And the hurt comes from some kind of an ending. We have the Mastery of Coins here, which would be like the King of Pentacles, but we have a feminine on this card as well. And then we have the Five of Wands. I almost wonder if, okay, so I'm just going to say it because I said this all kind of rapid storytelling here. We could have been looking at the story of someone. They could have been a water sign, doesn't have to be, but they were a very emotional individual that did not have great language skills. They compartmentalized their emotions to deal with stuff that was super confusing. They have realized that they need to work on that and find a way to explain that, because I think that this person is crazy in love with the Virgo. The big thing, though, that they still are confused about how to explain is if the Virgo like walked away from them or something, that could still be really painful, and that could be a big fear. But again, the Virgo would have walked away prior to knowing any of this, right? But they're still maybe worried about like the amount of like, would Virgo be willing to work on this with me as I keep working on changing? Will the Virgo, work through this with me? Because this is going to require compromise. Lots of times they're still not going to understand each other. There's going to be lots of things that would have to be, like, I almost wonder if this person is like, also, will you still have passion for me if we hit these snags? I almost feel like somebody is saying like, I'm kind of a difficult person because this is the way I process. It's different. And maybe I already kind of blew it with Virgo by not explaining that to them in the beginning. Maybe they didn't understand that. Maybe we didn't know each other well enough. Maybe there was an ending, or maybe this person is just scared that there will always be somebody that goes, this is just too much for me to deal with. I don't want to deal with this, and leave them. I feel like every person on earth has a big fear of like, what if somebody doesn't want to stay with me? I think that's just like human thing that everybody worries about. But this person might be saying, but I process different, and that annoys people, and I know that, so this is my big fear. And I think that fear has to first be like overcome, because here's the thing, they can't decide how Virgo is going to behave. This may not be anything at all. Like to the Virgo, it's like, okay, so that's how you operate. Okay, not a problem. Then I'll give you that space. And then I know that you'll tell me later on when you're ready to talk. Okay, there's certain things that you talk about at certain times because that's where your comfort zone is. Okay, well, let's do it that way. And then little by little, if you feel more comfortable in other ways, awesome. This might not be a very big deal to accommodate, but and on the other hand, it could be a big deal for someone to accommodate an individual that operates differently. But the bottom line is, the only person who can answer that would be the Virgo themselves. And that's the one person they're kind of afraid to check in with and say, would that bother you? And I feel like I want to give this person a hug and be like, oh my gosh, everybody does things differently. Everybody has their own unique way. Everyone's reactions, maybe they don't process differently, but maybe they react differently than most people would to things. You know, it's just like this person, to me, this feels like it's somebody who's like really working on trying to figure out how can they explain themselves to a person that they care about, and then their big fears, but what if they wouldn't want me once I explain this to them? And it's like, yeah, but getting to know each other, like, you can't, the Virgo can't decide whether or not this person suits them unless they get to know them. So they basically, you've got to get to know your person. So this is all about like, can we have this new beginning? Is there a potential here? And this says, heck yeah, there's a great potential here. This is like, let's move on and let's get going. Let's look at the sun. Let's look at happiness. Here's that third eye up in the sky again. And it's like, this is awesome. We get to explore getting to know each other. Let's not waste any more time. If there's been miscommunication and hurt feelings, let's go ahead and say, heck, I have this image of like two people saying, okay, awesome. So now we've gotten through a bump in the road. Now we understand some stuff that could have been a big hiccup. Okay, let's make a promise. Anytime that we're having like an issue, let's have like this couch in the house is going to be our safe space where we don't have to deal with whatever we're fighting about or whatever our problem is. Let's have like a no conflict zone where no matter what issue we have in the future, let's always make sure that we can both go into the like little no conflict zone and have a space where it's like, this is where we can rest. This is where we can enjoy the silence and companionship and cool off and stuff without, I feel like two people are coming up with a unique strategy on how to make sure that they get to know each other and build something before it's just like, oh, whatever, this is too confusing, and walk away. This is like, why don't we create a like a safe zone where even if we're not communicating about stuff, we both feel like, yeah, but this is how I tell you non-verbally that I'm in this with you. I want to get to know you still. You know, it's almost like these two have something that represents like, I don't know, like maybe it's not a couch that they sit on. Maybe it's like a whatever, like, you know, if we both touch this, whatever, this object, this bowl, this glass bowl that sits on the countertop, that says, okay, we're tapping out. We're not going to fight right now, but trust me, I'm still with you. Like, I'm frustrated right now. We're not on the same page, but I'm showing you physically with this symbolic action that I am still totally with you. We can get through this. I feel like that's this unique thing. I've never had something like that come out in a reading, and I actually really like that idea. That's really cool. But it's a kind of a nice, they're finding a new strategy that doesn't require the verbal and the like, you know, well, this has to be hashed out. And, you know, this is like, let's lower tensions. Let's do something that's uniquely us, that reassures us that it's okay. Maybe we're not having all the answers right now, but moving forward, when we get to that place, let's not freak out and think that one or the other is immediately bailing. Let's show each other that it's okay. You know, I'm still with you, and we can pause on all of this, and then we'll figure out words later on. You know, it's kind of I don't know what else to call it other than a safety zone. A truce or an armistice. You know, it's like a ceasefire. Like, okay, let's not keep trying to talk right now when we can't do this, but also let's not turn our backs on each other and get all pouty and rude and, you know, passive aggressive. Let's actually have a way that we convey to each other that I understand this is, you know, we'll find a different time and a different way to communicate on this. For right now, just know that I'm still with you, you know? Like, that's what this looks like. I don't know if that made a lick of sense, but that's what we got on this. And I thought it was really fun, really awesome. As always, I am a fictional storyteller. I am not a psychic. I'm not a life coach. I don't tell anybody how to live. I don't tell people what to do. I don't care what anybody does. It's all up to you and your life. I hope you guys enjoy my art for what it is. It's entertainment. If you do, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. Don't forget, if you are interested in having a little bit more fun, right now I'm doing some giveaways to thank my subscribers. I do this every year. So if you're watching the bonus general messages that I put out every day, you will notice that each day I do a giveaway of a prize. So enter to win there if you watch that series. Lots of love. Bye.